This conference will now be recorded.
Mayor Roberts.
Here.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Here.
Commissioner Gandy.
Here.
Commissioner Bowe.
Here.
Commissioner White. Here.
Please bow your heads. I'll be in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, as we come here today as members of the commission and our community, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to the city of Lovington. Keeping in mind always the enduring values of the life and responsibilities that you have given us, and continuing to exert our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which we can build a better future for our city. Let us continue to strive to make a better community. In God's name, amen.
Amen.
Like allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of Mexico, and see a symbol of perfect friendship among the united cultures.
Maybe see.
Order for Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted. Is there any discussion? Is there any corrections or not? Shannon, roll call vote.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
Commissioner White. Yes. Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes. Okay, consideration of minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make approval of the minutes from September 12th, 2022.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and second on adoption of the minutes. Any discussion, corrections? If not, Shannon?
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
Commissioner White. Yes. Commissioner Trujillo. Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes. All right, Mr. Staff report. Shannon, do you have anything for us this evening?
Mayor and Commissioners, we had a meeting last week with our new insurance agent that is Rob Sullivan. He's bought out reinsurance. So we're going to be working with him, and we're going to be working on getting a new list together that make sure we have all of our properties listed there. And also we're working on the health claim still, and getting together, we're going to be getting together an RFP. He's going to be helping us with that as well. Also, we've got a bid opening next week on interment services for the cemetery. That'll be next Tuesday. So y'all will be voting on that the next commission meeting.
Any questions? Thank you, Shannon.
Good evening,
Tracy, good evening.
Commissioners and Mayor. I just have a couple things I was going to share with you guys. I wanted to pass this out. This is a little spreadsheet on the GRT that we've received for the last 3 months to kind of give you guys an idea. July was pretty good, August was good, and September was really, really good. So I just kind of wanted to let y'all in on that.
What we received in September is effectively for July. Isn't that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
I hope the rest of the year continues in that trend.
Yes, sir. Not bad. So. And then I also had, we did a little feed on the COVID funds. I kind of wanted to let you know, see what's going on that as well. The first section is what we've already paid out in the COVID funds. And this is the money from last year, I believe. Was it last year?
Yes.
Okay, we paid out 87,000 so far, and then we also have projected 705,000, which is mainly wastewater and the water. And then it leaves 607,000 out of the previous COVID funds, and that's also, we're trying to do that for wastewater and water infrastructures. And then in September the 1st, we received a new round of COVID money. So just to kind of let you guys know what's going on here.
Is it even? Is it truly even, or is it
It's like,
1.4 and some change?
it's like some change, yes.
Okay. Questions? Staff?
I'd just like to mention that the COVID funding is for infrastructure and then losses secured for COVID. So everything on here should match that.
All right, I'm probably gonna change things up in the upcoming weeks. And there are items, I'll open it for public comment. We will have a public comment, but on items that come on that may be of interest and we don't have up there, if you have a question or something, feel free to raise your hand. I'll recognize you and go from there. So. All right, anything else?
That's it.
Awesome,
you.
thank you. Appreciate it. Chief Moran.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. City Manager, we have 3 people in the final stages of our hiring process, which bring us to fill all of our approved positions, which would mean we have 21 of 28 positions filled for officers at the police department, with an emphasis on filling empty patrol positions first. Our 6 new patrol units have been delivered from the dealer to the aftermarket equipment outfitter in Albuquerque. These units should be ready in late November or early December. These 6 2022 Ford Police Interceptor units were paid for through a combination of COVID funds provided by Commissioner Rebecca Long, and a grant from the Maddox Foundation. And lastly, our fence project is almost finished. We're just waiting for the doors and gates and remotes, and then we will then repave our parking lot. And I'd be happy to stand for any questions the commission has.
Chief, I have one question, and then the other day, one of the units pulled up next to it. I know we had all of the glass repaired or whatever. This one, obviously, it received considerable damage during the hailstorm. What is our plan on that, or do we just? I mean, it's not noticeable unless you're close, but.
On some, we didn't repair the damage because the deductible is $1,000 per unit. So on the minor ones, like my unit, the hood is dented completely. We're just going to leave it until they age out.
I understand. Moving on. Fire.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission. So during the Chiefs Conference this past weekend, I spoke with 411 Equipment about possibilities of acquiring a used fire engine with the past state fire funds that we had to carry over. So the more we talked, we discussed that they said if we trade in our ladder truck that we have right now, our brand new one, they would pay us at least $300,000 more than we paid for that truck. So we paid 1.3 million. They said they could give us at least 1.6, maybe even more. We could use that money, pay off the loan, which is $117,000 a year. We can get out from under that. With the money that we have left, we should be able to purchase a used ladder truck that's still a 2010 or newer, replace the new ladder truck we have with the used one, and then acquire a new engine. Because we use that way more than we're going to use the ladder. We would still meet the state ISO requirements with the ladder truck, but we'd be able to get a new engine in place of the ladder. Does that make sense? And still have a ladder truck to meet ISO requirements, but we don't need this big fancy nice. I mean, it is nice. It is beautiful. It makes a nice parade truck. but. It hoists people up on the roof. Yes, it does. The insurance adjusters really enjoyed it as well. So, and the park with the flag. But other than that, I would, something more within our means, and then we get it out from underneath that 170,000 a year. Plus get us a new fire.
My suggestion is get with Tracy and the procurement and DFA. Yes. And make sure we follow the guidelines, and then let's present that and we can get that on. If that is acceptable to you, I think those are good suggestions. I appreciate it.
So the weather siren testing that we had scheduled, we have rescheduled that for October the 12th at 10 o'clock in the morning. There again, it is subject to change depending on the weather, but as of right now, that's the day we're planning on doing it. First thing in the morning, I'm headed to Kermit, take possession of one handheld 800/700/VHF handheld radio. We were donated that to the Road Coalition. It's a $7,000 radio. And they're also the ones who gave us the donation for 3 new sets of bunker gear and 8 sets of wildlife gear. And then EMS billing, last month, we collected $94,719.98. That's through Change Healthcare. So I'll get to the one that everybody, I say everybody, a lot of people. So our old building was called AIM system. And that system, they went to Change Healthcare, I want to say in November of 19. It was my understanding that all those bills that we currently have were moved over to Change Healthcare when Change Healthcare took over. They did not. We've been paying $7,200 a year for a system that we're not using, and all the patients have still been sitting there. All of them have been billed. Some of them have been billed to insurance. However, a lot of those did not go through the system. So when we changed that to, when we turned it over to the CRI, because my ladies and myself had no idea how to use that system. We knew nothing about it. We started getting people called, hey, my insurance paid for this. This is the EOB. At that point, we would call the CRI. These people approved that this was already paid. Will you please close this account out? And that's what they're doing. We apologize to the public for any inconvenience this has caused. We know it has caused a lot. And we are taking responsibility for it. I mean, none of us were in those. We had no idea what it was. We're trying to clean up the mess. However, it's still the fire department and we represent the fire department. So we apologize to those that it is inconvenience. Other than that, I'll stand for any questions.
I just want to say I appreciate it. I think that's outstanding what you do. I think you're utilizing your assets to the max, and then also finances, you're getting in order, because I think that was $1 million ticket that wasn't collected during that 2019. 60. Yeah.
And we can only go back to 2018.
Yeah, 2018, yeah, so $6 million, but at least I just see that you're making some sort of effort. That's outstanding. And I know we all appreciate that. Chief, I had just one little thing, and I don't know when they're gonna make that connection right there off Denver City, off the water line. But I know you have a fire hydrant on Chapman Street, and maybe when they cut the line, because I think they moved over on that side, maybe they can cut the line before you go in for a new fire hydrant.
So that's actually on the water department.
Okay.
We don't maintain the hydrants. We just use them when they need them. However, my suggestion that they put all these new hydrants in on Main Street. We've got those old hydrants. A lot of them, there's nothing wrong with them. We need to utilize those to replace these that are leaking, or at least if we can replace the whole thing, if we don't need to use them as parts to fix the ones that are.
I think this one's just a bad cat. That's what-
No, it's the film. It's the film. It's the film busted. If you take that cap off, it'll start.
Okay.
So.
So maybe we could do that there. I I don't know when that's expected to take. I know they're gonna tap into the water on this side of town. They're supposed to make that disconnect and inconnect, and maybe during that period, maybe we can run there and get captured that way. Because I mean, you can't connect to it. It's useless to use because you can't turn off the valve to connect to it. So it's something to get there. Thank you.
Any other questions? Chief, and I'm just gonna help the audience and those listening understand that this resolution of this insurance slash predicament we're in is to help clear up an item on our audit that has been transferred over for the past couple, so that we show $6 million of accounts receivable. We just cannot write those off. Government entity cannot. We have to put in an allowance for collection. And so we're trying to get an idea of what that would be and then just say, that's what we got. Yes, it wasn't anywhere near what we had as accounts receivable, but we can show that. And that's an item on our audit that we can clear up so that we can move on and finish out the audit. So we appreciate everyone's patience in this. We understand that there's been, when you get a collection or something from a collection agency, even though that they were actually just trying to help us find out what was owed, what wasn't owed, and they're a source. We're basically using them to clear up this issue. So we ask your patience. Unless you just totally ignore them, there's no way you'll end up at a collection agency. And if you come to the fire station, we will help clear this up. So we appreciate it very much. And I know the chief, he's doing that in helping the city clear this up. So it's not all on him, it's not all on us, it's just a concerted effort to get this done. Anyway. Any questions? Commissioner Hall?
I have a question. Chief Miranda. What was Operation Cleanup? I was going to ask you before I forgot. You said that the road department is helping out also.
Zoning, the road department, sometimes the water departments, code enforcement, police departments, yes.
Right, I know there's one that I left out, was the road department. I said
Yes.
everybody that was involved in that, and I wanted to put that out there for them also.
They've been great.
They're doing a great job. Everybody involved in it is doing a great job. It's good. Looking at our GRT numbers, and I understand they're going to be a little skewed with inflation and everything, but numbers are looking good, going up. So, again, with the city of Lovington, as far as people buying local, staying local, eating local, much appreciated. Every dollar that we spend in the city here helps us out. Keep doing whatever we're doing. It's going in the right direction. So thank everybody in our community very much. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Pierce? Commissioner White? Commissioner Yang?
I made a trip to Idaho last week, so apologize for not being here, but all I would encourage you to do is build dams and bridges and plant trees and bring water. Oh, we don't have any of that, I'm sorry.
Pray a lot harder, maybe.
I don't think that's okay.
Nothing's an
City manager?
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, I would like to discuss department goals and objectives, and I know that's a non-action item, so we'll get to that one. At this time, I'll stand for any questions that the mayor or commission may have for me.
I'm not there, and I know we're going to discuss it, like you said, but I want to ask you, because last time we jumped over you, when I had to talk to you, I had some questions I asked. I want to discuss how we're doing as far as our wastewater and fresh water. So, if,
I'll bring that up.
okay, thank you.
Any others? Bob?
Just an update on the Main Street project. Citizens were aware, the NMDOT infrastructure has decided to enhance the project and to get through the Avenue D area quicker. They're going to close Avenue D, all 4 lanes, from Industrial to Main Street. All businesses and stuff can access from the back sides of the properties, out by Industrial. Well, from Industrial to Commercial, you can go from Washington down Curry onto Industrial to access those businesses. There are no businesses on the south side in that area out there, luckily. So the detour route is basically you go to the south to Avenue K to cut back into town, or you go to the north of Washington to cut back into town. Like I said, this is going to help get this project done a lot quicker in that area, rather than being 4 different detour routes in that area over the next 6 months. It's going to change it to where we're done with that area in about 3 months. I don't have anything else. If any questions?
Okay, seeing none. Patrick, how do you see?
Good, good. I think, Mayor Commissioners, we should have a little bit of a change of a version of our softball complex lease. After we, I think, signed ours off, the school took a look at theirs. There were a couple of changes in there. I don't know exactly what they approved, final approval of the meeting, but the red line I saw looked acceptable to me. So as soon as I get that back in, we can set it for another agenda item and get it approved. So other than that, anything new? We have this stand for any questions.
Yes, Commissioner.
And I don't know if I should be directing this to you, Patrick, or Vidal.
Mhm.
I know we've had that discussion with the railroad tracks, and they're gonna be moving forward on that.
Right.
Have we heard anything about it, what's going on?
So what I did was get in touch with, and I think 2 meetings ago, the next day, the railroad called me back, talked to me about what happened the last time out there on Avenue Bar. And so the city had removed some of the asphalt. They fixed the actual tracks themselves. And then the city, I think, split the cost to finish off the asphalt and the rest of the work that needed to be done out there on the street. So that was my understanding of what was to happen on this particular one. So I just forwarded that on to city manager, and my understanding was that our street department was going to get back in touch with, contacted the railroad to coordinate removing that asphalt. I think there's, they thought after looking at it on our street department, that maybe a low boy had hung on the tracks and kind of pulled those up. So they need to do some repairs to the ties and the track itself. And then we're back in business as far as putting asphalt. But since I've communicated that, I have not made any calls. I was with street department, and so I don't know what their schedule is like, but that's my understanding.
And our street director, Mr. Bernardo, is going to, we're going to hire a contractor to assist us with that project. And hopefully now in October that will. But the agreement is that the city will pay half, and I know Tracy's already worked with Bernardo on the deal for that.
Yes.
So the city will pay half, and the railroad will pay.
We start addressing this in October.
In October, yes.
Thank you very much.
I have one question. Has anybody contacted Mark Saxon on that?
Mark,
He's the one, the only reason we did that was because of his warehouses. Now, I'm just saying, does he still need to utilize that? Is that even still essential for him to have? Because that's the only reason we left it there, is for economic development purposes and because of his warehouses. Is it even cost effective to even keep it there for him to even, someone to railroad stuff in and out of it? Is what I'm saying. And I'm just saying, if it's not, then they just cut the cost in half and do it ourselves, and it's just an easy to manage of that. I just don't know if we contacted.
and when we made contact with the railroad, I called the mayor, and he did make contact with.
You did with
the business.
Smart, I did want to say you still want.
He was very emphatic that, basically it comes down to if we ever lose any kind of service or we move it past the highway, that we'll never get it back.
Yes.
And And it doesn't just come to him, it does go on down to, yeah, effectively, Permian Basin Materials. I realize they truck the majority of theirs in, but I just feel that it would, for the amount of money that we're dealing with, to completely shut off the railroad, even though it's not currently used, and I had this discussion with some citizens that called in. It, right now, for the same reason that we kept it back in, I think that for the amount of money we're talking about, a good way to proceed. If it becomes a big deal in the future and we absolutely see it'll never happen, then that would make sense. Move prior to eliminating all. Patrick, I had one thing to add to the lease on the softball. I was present at the school board meeting, and there was some concern by the school board that if they went ahead and signed this lease, then they would, I guess what they're asking, and the vote reflected this in a 3-2 vote. They did approve the lease on the softball, but they're worried that we don't have a lease on the parking lot in front of Atlanta.
Right.
Now, we've never had a lease.
Right.
But they would like to, since we are, I guess, the leaseor, then they would like to lease in the same manner in which we're requesting on the softball fields.
So there was a paragraph in that lease agreement, and it's not uncommon to see it in, commercial or other types of contracts. It says, this is, regarding this subject, this is exactly what the parties agree on. There's nothing else outside of this, no other issues. It's just right here. So I spoke with the attorney for the schools and said, there's another issue that's kind of tied to this, is that deal back, 10, 15 years ago that never got consummated as far as the swap on the property. So by signing this, if we sign it, the school signs it, what's your position on that? Because I still think we need to move forward, because we have a piece of property that we're not using. We're still the owner. I don't know if we've got insurance on it. I don't know what that status is, but they made some significant improvements to it. So we still have to finish that. So the school's attorney, her position was that separate, this paragraph does not change anybody's claims or defenses, either the city or the school that they would have. And so I think the first thing to do is to see if we can't revive that and get it settled. Because if we do a lease agreement, what's going to happen is it's just going to get kicked down the road to sometime in the future. And then 10 years later, we're going to be back in the exact same position. So my first suggestion would be to see if we can finish that deal. And I think the important thing is to recognize when we get with the state that swap was an arm's length transaction. Now they put about $750,000, let's say, in improvements. It doesn't look like an arm's length transaction anymore, because that seems to be more valuable than the softball complex. But at the time we agreed to do the swap, they were pretty close in what their values were. So that would be my recommendation. Let's see if we can get that deal done. If we do that, then we're now the owner of the softball complex. We're lessor and lessee, and we can just tear that agreement up. And so that would be the most efficient way to go. If we have to do a lease there, I think we can. My concern is just kicking the can down the road to not deal with the big issue.
I totally agree with you. However, the school board, I'm going to say, has some reluctance on doing the swap. And so in the meantime, and I will say this, and this is kind of what I have heard, is if yourself and their attorney could make a recommendation, could agree on a recommendation to move in that direction, it might push it along a little bit. But in the meantime, I don't know who came up with the lease that we are asking on the ball fields, who actually wrote it. Typically, we own something or I own something and I rent it, then I have a lease that I present. Okay, I don't know if we originally presented the lease to them for the softball or whatever, but they kind of took the position that we should write it, come up with. I really don't understand the true position on their part, but trying to move things along so that everybody's comfortable.
Right. The last that I spoke with the school's attorney, the school was going to go back and do some research and see what they had from, let's say, school board meetings and approved resolution, to see if we can't match up that approved resolution of the city, an approved resolution of the school board, and just say, hey, we are going to ratify that. And the school board ratifies theirs, and then we should be able to swap. That's the easiest thing. But I understand your position is that they may want some, and I don't know how we would, come up with a dollar value for the lease or anything like that. So I guess we could say, see what commercial value would be on it. We can figure that out, but I'll make contact with her and see if we can get that part.
And I appreciate that. I think we need to get it done, because that's more of a liability for us on both. We just have one, we just have the softball field, and we're liable for that. If we do make this swap, but right now, if we go this direction, it makes it more liable for both areas, where we're gonna have to carry insurance on both properties. You can have liability issues on both sides. We need to get it done to where we just have one instead of two.
Sure.
Because now, what I'm saying, you can have more, creates more of a possibility of something, is what I'm saying. So I agree, I agree with those, just get that ball field in our name, get that in their name, and move on. Yeah, I'd like to see that, if possible.
Anything further? All right, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, moving along. It's now time for our public comment. If you have something you'd like to bring up, please come forward to the podium, state your name, and in a reasonable time, we'd like to say 3 minutes or so. Present what you have.
City Mayor, City Commissioners, we would like to invite everyone to join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. starting. We will be decorating Grant Ashley for the Halloween season. We'd really love to have some community involvement and community support. We will have everything we need, and we have some major skeletons that are like 12 feet tall. So everyone come out and join us. It'll be fun, and we'll be there all evening. So thank you.
Mine, sorry. I'm not gonna be here. I'm so sorry. I would be there, but how did your project over the weekend?
It went really, really, really well.
I haven't made it down on that and I didn't get in until late last night, so.
We had 2 volunteers, aside from me and my staff that were there that day. And those 2 volunteers did an amazing job. We got, honestly, 1 whole side done except for the very top. And then the same thing on the other side. We are going to be power washing the front, so that's why we haven't gotten started on that one. But they were rocking and rolling. They did a great job. We were out there from 9 until about 3, took a lunch break. And they were such great hard workers. Nobody complained, and it was hot. But we're really excited to finish it up. Me and Star will be working on it this week. And then if not, we'll be scheduling an additional community day to finish that up. But that is number 2 of 3 buildings that we have on our list. And so if anybody would like to participate or is looking for volunteer hours, we have plenty.
Awesome. I think Commissioner Gandy might need a little thank you if I'm not mistaken. You didn't heard that. Okay,
No.
sorry. You were on Thursday when I was out working on the location. You were gonna provide a lift or something, so.
You must be confused.
Okay, well, we thank you anyway, Commissioner Gandy, for future reference. How-
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
That's the furniture to make me do something now.
Of course. We do appreciate it. All right.
No, we are very grateful. A lot of times, there's machinery, porta potties, the kind of all kinds of random little things that people don't realize that we also need, and those majority of the time do get donated, and it really takes a village to be able to complete these projects. So we are grateful for everyone's assistance, even behind the scenes.
Thank you. I appreciate what you do. Anyone else? Our newly appointed planning and zoning board member.
Mayor Roberts and commissioners. When you mentioned a while ago that the gross receipts tax were looking good, we out there sort of wonder, well, what are the gross receipts tax? And this is a question that I've asked for years as to why it is not publicized, especially to the citizens of Lovington, along with the other things that the city might get as revenue. As I noticed in the Hobbs paper, they are always talking about the fees that they got for renovations, for a carport that went up, or that kind of thing. I think it's something that should be shared in our newspapers, the Lovington and Hobbs. That way, I think when you hear some of the numbers that we've been hearing, that it gives you a lift. And I think that that's what our community needs to hear, is some real positive numbers coming out of this. Thank you.
Mayor Roberts, Commissioner Crystal. I do have a question real quick. You're talking about the 4-lane road closure on Avenue D, which I'm 100% for. I have a business there, that's where we keep all of our large equipment. We have a way we can go around the site on Roosevelt. But the question is, how far off will it be closed? Right? How far off of Avenue D?
Avenue D will actually be open in front of your area right there.
Okay.
It is just in the commercial intersection. There'll be no way to get through there. That's why they're cutting the traffic.
We might mention that there's a 2-day, basically, hopefully 2-day complete closure, because originally it was going to be closed from industrial all the way, but we had a very long, short day on Friday. It was a long day for you, I know. But we were able to get that resolved so that the state required constructors to block at industrial. And we brought to light the plight that the businesses had in that area. And so constructors agreed with a little twist in their arms, not a lot, but to give the state a new proposal. And the proposal, which is a red line, was supposed to be sent up today. And as soon as they approve it, which we're hopeful is tomorrow, then Avenue D coming westbound will be open to local traffic only. The state's primary concern was they get down and can't turn around to go back out, but we're diverting them down Roosevelt and then around the fairgrounds and either commercial or whatever. So it seemed like a pretty simple solution, nothing simple with the state though, but that should be done in the next couple of days, and now it's done.
Yeah, that's the way I go. It was blocked and now it's open.
Oh, they the constructors moved quicker than they anticipated. So anyway, hopefully that whole situation, yes, it will be a little inconvenient, but there's ingress, egress, and it shouldn't affect the businesses. So.
Well, we're on both sides, right there on Roosevelt and Avenue D. We can get around. I just was trying to make sure that we could actually. Right.
Yeah, turn right.
And I'm 100% for it too, by the way.
We're trying to speed it along. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on.
So, Mr. Mayor, may I answer Mrs. question?
Absolutely.
Mrs. Vio. So in the 14 or 15 years that I've been on this commission, we had the
September gross receipts was over $1 million. That is only the second time in 14, 15 years. I want to say it's 2014 that we've been over $1 million. So that's a phenomenon. It'd be great if that was every month, but there's too many other factors. Roofing's been the bigger player there. So, but yeah, most of the time our numbers are nowhere near that, but that is only the second time in my four terms that I've seen that number. So that's all I have.
And I think, Yanni had mentioned all that, is that also is that, which I spoke to Lovington leader about this, is that I'm hoping that once our first quarter report comes out, which was stated this last meeting, that the numbers are going to be where the numbers we want, the numbers that AFB Arrow and everybody's got up to date, that we publicize that first quarter, because that is real numbers. I mean, it's not 100%, but it's what Ed come out with. It's what all the audits come out with. That is going to be our real numbers, actual numbers. And I figured the public could see actual numbers will be it's still probably going to be in November, because we still have to approve that quarter report. But after that quarter report, I had mentioned to Mr. Graham, I was going to ask the board if we can at least get a half page or full page. That way the public knows this is where we're at. All the hard work's been done since March of last year to October, and this is where we're at on the county side.
Thank you.
Yes.
Further? Okay. This brings us to non-action items. Dr. Martinez, do you want to lead this whole?
Yeah, I got mine out there.
That it? One more, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, in front of you, we have the Lovington City Commission meeting, departmental goals and objectives, September 26, 2022. Everyone has a copy of that. Before I start, I just want to thank the mayor and the commission for being involved with this process. I know, for example, Mayor Robbie Roberts is involved in the wastewater department. I know Commissioner Adrian Hill is involved with water department. Commissioner Gandy, Commissioner Bolt are involved with Operation Cleanup, and Commissioner White is involved in Finance Department and also Streets Department. So I want to thank the commission for being involved. I strongly believe that in order for us to move forward, it's going to be a collaboration of commission, myself, staff, citizens, and so forth. So I just want to start off by thanking everyone for being involved. Now, what I would like to do is just go over this step by step. If we need to take items out that we've already completed, that's great. If we need to add as we move forward, we will add. This is what we call a breathing, living document, and we want to continue to add and delete from this document. Okay, so as I move forward, if you have any questions, if the public has any questions, just please let me know, and or any of the staff members. So we're going to start off with the wastewater department. Now, as we move forward, you'll realize that we've hired consultants. We have actually 3 consultants. We have a consultant for wastewater, we have a consultant for water department, and we have a consultant for our finance department. Now, keep in mind, these consultants are not going to be with us forever. They're here to assist us, to help us get back on our feet and to move forward. Now, the good thing with the consultants is they keep us on our toes. They're outsiders that come in and say, this is how you need to do it. Okay? So the first one with the wastewater department, we have Sauter Miller Engineering Associates, excuse me. We've hired Mr. Leo Wilson, and Leo Wilson, I think, is out of Hobbs. I'm pretty sure he's out of Hobbs. And so Leo has been working with us, myself, the mayor, with the staff at the wastewater and so forth. Now, I did originally have Leo to present tonight, but we decided to wait a while because there's certain objectives that we want him to meet. I didn't want him to come to the board and say, okay, this and this, without meeting those objectives. And so what he has done, and I know the mayor's gonna jump in on this wastewater topic, but he has a 6-month plan. So he met with us and we have a 6-month plan. We are very fortunate to have the $1.4 million pool fund that we've been using. And we have an additional $1.4 million. That's gonna help us. I don't know if that's gonna get us to the end result, but it's a start. Right now, the current COVID funds, we have approximately 600,000 still spent on wastewater and water. And we're holding on to the 1.4 that we just got. Now, as Leo Wilson and Ron Woods and the staff, as they move forward, we will have some additional expenses. And that also includes our collection system. I just want to make it clear, it's not just the plant, but it's the collection system. I know we have some issues on the North Bluff lift station. And so we're moving forward. And with that, I would like the mayor to jump in and to just give your summary, Mr. Mayor, of where we're at and so forth.
Absolutely. As Dr. Martinez has spoken, Sandra Miller was, I know, kind enough, I hate to say that, whenever you pay somebody to do something, but Leo is a great asset in our area, happens to live in Hobbs, and has been I guess a director of the Hobbs wastewater facility in his past. And he came over, has been very active in giving advice and also helping direct the directions we need to go. We are currently under a reconstruction of sequential batch number 1, reactor number 1, excuse me. And upon completion of that, right now we're waiting on parts. Unfortunately, and the whole thing is there's long lead times for certain things that we need. And as soon as we have contracted with a local company that's going to do some of the repairs and the cleanup of that particular reactor. As soon as we are complete and now it is back online, then we will also take down reactor number 2. We will do, hopefully, at that point, just preventive maintenance. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to change out the aspiration in it. We're going to clean it out, and then those 2 reactors will be working at their as close to their efficiency as we can get at this time, and then we can look on the items that are upstream of that and the items that are downstream, and try to bring all of our treatment into not just compliance, but into effectiveness, so that we have capacity for growth and we have correct treatment of what we are currently working with. As Dr. Martinez said, our collection system, and that's basically all the sewer lines that are in town all flowing to the wastewater. That's our collection system. We know for a fact that we have reached capacity at the North Love, and we have a lot of expansion and projects that are going out there. So we've definitely got to upgrade that, increase capacity, size, and we put in a bypass, several things, so that those projects that are going to be enhancing our city will have the ability to attach to our collection system. The one on South Love is also an area that has been an area of concern. We have a lot of up and down time with it. We have that particular facility needs to be upgraded as well. And those are the 2 of the primary collection lift stations that we have in the city. So in addition to the POTW, Publicly Owned Treatment Works, we're working on all of that so that we as a city can move forward and we can be attractive to these projects that are going to be helping our city. And I like to pick on the county occasionally because I say, as good as the county is, if our treatment facility goes down, the county goes down right with us, because they're wholly reliant on our particular, at least for the judicial complex and the courthouse. So we have a lot of partners in this, and these partners have been able to step forward and help us whenever we need it. So it's a collaborative effort, and we are making headway, and we will be able to use these funds. Sandra Miller is also reaching out and trying to get some additional funding for us. So we are getting there, and it's good to see, and it's exciting, because not only are we just fixing problems, we are upgrading as we go. So effectively, Dr. Martinez, that sums up all I know.
Any questions from commission on wastewater? Bill? Okay. And like Commissioner Bolt, like I mentioned, once we complete specific objectives, I will have Ron Woods and Mr. Wilson present to the commission and give us more specific details. All right. Let's move on to the water department. We have David and Justin Munoz helping Bernard in the department with our water wells. We also have a grant of $320,000, approximately $320,000 to assist in the process. One of the issues that we ran into, and I know Commissioner White was involved with this, is our computer system that monitors the wells and our towers and so forth. We've been having some major problems. We've been having water from the towers, we've had leakage and so forth. So we did meet with the representative, Patrick, I forgot his last name, he's a representative with the SCADA system. And so that's one major issue. We don't know yet the cost. It could be maybe $35,000, $60,000, $70,000. We're waiting to find out how much that will cost. But our computer system has to be updated. It's been a few years, it hasn't been updated, so that will be our priority. I did speak to Justin Munoz today, and he is working with the department, and he will have a report, progress report soon. He'll turn that into me, and I'll present that to the commission on where we're at and where we need to go. Any questions on the water department?
Yeah, no, with that SCADA system, are they looking to just update it, upgrade it, or replace it? Do you have any idea?
He's got like 4 different things going on at one time, and he's gonna fix what he can and implement where he can, and update where he can. He's
So,
just looking at everything.
Patches in, so he's gonna be doing?
Patches, like try to get some newer computer software, and he went out and saw the.
Okay.
And I will, once that report, or once Patrick gives us the quote, I'll update the commission on where we're at, and what we need to do to upgrade the system. Any questions on the water? Building department, on the next page. We had an opportunity to meet with our consultant, Ed Fierro, on the waste management collection and billing. Now, we are collecting approximately $2.1 million. And we're paying out approximately 2.1. Tracy, how much? 10,000? Right, so we're collecting 2.1 for waste, and we're paying 2.1. So the issue that came up with the contract, we need to look at the waste management contract. We need to look at, are we efficient? Are we doing what we're supposed to do? So we have to do a complete analysis of that contract and of our rates.
And bring our billing forward.
That's correct. But I just want the mayor and commission to know that we're bringing in 2.1 and we're paying out 2.1. So we're pretty much breaking even on waste management collections. Any questions on that?
I think once you do that, make sure you take into account any future contracts that we may have with them, because if they're, when you talk to them, say, is there going to be some sort of adjustment in the coming years? That way we don't make the adjustment, sell it to the public, then all of a sudden they ante up to where it's break even again. Is what that's something to look
at
in the future reports as well.
On the industrial commercial use billing, we have a meeting tomorrow with Shannon and Bernard and Wendy on this is the Navajo refinery. There's some issues on the billing. I know Patrick has been involved with this, and so we have a meeting tomorrow at 8:30. The mayor can attend tomorrow at 8:30. That would be great. We're having some billing issues. Once we meet with Navajo on the specifics, then I'll report to the commission. Any questions on that? Finance Department, I would like Tracy to go over this, and we can delete what we've already completed. But I just want the Mayor and Commission to know that we have Ed Piero as our consultant to assist Tracy in the Finance Department. We also have Michael, what's his last name, Tracy? Stein. He is helping us with the DFA report. And then we got our auditor, Clovis Dion, she's helping with the audit. Keep in mind that we've already started the audit process, and our goal is to turn it in on by December 15th. That's the goal. And we are working on the DFA report.
We started probably in 2 weeks. We're gonna start the DFA. We have to finish September. We have to get September off.
So let's go over the finance department. I want to spend 2-3 hours up here. I know Commissioner Gandy was like, "Give me the-" Commissioner White. Okay, so let's, Tracy, let's go through this real quickly and just indicate which ones that we've already completed.
Fourth quarter DFA is done. Budget submission is done. The audit correction action plan is done. And the departmental budget report.
Anything on the finance department? Now, our plan will be the end of October. Tracy will present our actual numbers to the commission. Now, what we plan to do is we're going to meet with Chip Lowe. He's a county finance director. Our goal is we want to best practices. We want to be standard across the board. We want to make sure that what we're presenting as financial records to the commission, that it's pretty much the same thing as what the county, Hawks, Eunice, Gel. We just want to be consistent across the board of what we're presenting to the commission. So we will meet with the county finance director probably at the end of this month to make sure that we're consistent with what we're reporting to the commission. Okay. Any questions on the finance? Streets department? We've already discussed the lighting at the ball field. We did receive a $100,000 grant from the Maddox Foundation for the softball field. We met with Commissioner Rebecca Long the other day. It was myself, Mayor Roberts, and Commissioner White. And she is going to request allocating specific funds to the city. And so the recommendation would be $250,000 for softball, baseball fields, $75,000 for Operation Cleanup, and $100,000 for Main Street sidewalk and sidewalk construction, correct? Correct. So that's a big plus. Now that is the recommendation, and I know she is working with her board, her commission, and so forth. So it was a really good meeting. And, any help that we can get from county, from the state, or from Maddox Foundation is a big plus for us. So, and I know we're going to discuss that. There's a couple of action items that we're going to discuss. So I know that will be done.
I'd like to.
Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to recognize Commissioner
Jackson?
Good friend, yeah. But I'd like to recognize Mr. Jackson. I spoke with him on Saturday, and I couldn't thank him enough because every year Commissioner has given us funding for us. Even rough times, he's reached out and given us, and he continues to do so. So I just want to recognize him. I know we recognize the other commissioner, but I just want to point out that Jackson has been there since day one. And I just want to say I appreciate it. That's all.
Any questions or comments on street department? The last page, cemetery. You know, Miranda, we did with Commissioner Gandy and Commissioner Bolt. We went on a tour of the community, and we're very pleased that Operation Cleanup is moving forward. This is just the beginning of that cleanup. We plan to add additional abandoned homes that have been targeted for drug activity and criminal activity. So that's a big plus, so. I did meet with the fire marshal, the deputy fire marshal, Anthony Leyva, and Derek Rodriguez on the pre-ISO rating, so I'll meet with chief. Our last ISO rating was in 2014. Keep in mind, our chief he's a new chief, and so his job is to look at what occurred in the past. We're not going to point any fingers. Whatever has happened in the past has happened, and it's my job and the chief's job to make sure that we move forward on that ISO rating. Right now, we're rated as a 4, and chief is right. If we don't plan this correctly, we could go up to a 5 or 6, which we don't want. We don't want a 5 or 6. We want to go down to a 3 or 2. It'd be nice, very nice to get that ISO rating as a 2. We'll be happy with the 3, but we're looking at probably October, November on that pre-ISO. I'll meet with chief and we'll move forward on that. Okay. Any questions on police department, fire department, animal control, or administration?
I'm gonna step back and start
Okay,
with
go ahead.
cemetery. Missed that one, but we have a water well situation. In addition to our well field, I know they have looked at this, but we have a recommendation from them on what to do with the water well out at the cemetery on Tatum Highway. I'm sorry. Well, I know that. Where are we at on that?
We did get a quote for, we did get a quote for about $35,000 to build a new well.
To build.
So that's where we're at now. It's just a matter of identifying the funds for that to move forward. And so at this time, the staff at the cemetery have been going back and forth, hauling water, making sure that the trees don't die, doing some watering, basically.
Is there something we'd like to, either the commission can help or whatever to possibly come up with an action plan on this? That means, yes, we're going into fall and the grass is going to be dying, doesn't have much further to go. Fortunately, we've received rain and I know it has helped a lot, but going into next summer, I think we definitely need to either have that done or at least a plan on how to achieve it. So, I'm sorry.
Even if you use COVID funds, maybe that infrastructure.
I'm
marketing
thinking
towards the
that, yes,
infrastructure.
you're right. Okay, everything else good. Animal control, it has feral animals on there. I would like to commend the county because they are helping us in this department. We have a proposal before them, and when it comes up and they pass it, then there will be a low-cost spay and neuter schedule put out. And that right now is effectively for the county. It originally will be for the northern part of the county, but at least in the beginning, it'll probably be for the entire county. And that in addition to our veterinarian services, that is under consideration. And so hopefully by the end of the year or before the end of the year, that will be there. So again, our partners have really stepped up and helped us in a lot of areas. As we've eliminated, and I forgot to do this, and I don't know, are you taking notes or on this? Okay. On the wastewater, we do have the wastewater discharge permit was submitted, and it will be a 6-month item before we receive it. So you can probably put it as submitted, and then upon when we receive it, then we can take it off of there because it's 5 years. What was the? Can't remember how long it is. How long is it good for? It's either 3 or 5.
It's either 3 or 5.
I can't remember that. Anyway, that'll help. kind of bring our list up to date. Is there any other questions? I don't have anything else.
Any questions, Mayor, Commission? If there's anything you would like to add, just you can meet with me or Jamie, you can add that to the list. All right, thank you.
All right. Moving on. Ray Project.
I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2022-102, approval of transportation project fund grant agreement, HW2LP 220.
We have a motion second on this resolution. Ms. Ballard.
Yeah, this is the transportation grant that we were awarded for the, this is for the micro slurry seal on, I think it was 4.8 miles, various city streets. As soon as you guys sign this and they get it sent back off to NADOT and they get their approval stamped on it, I'll be able to go through the CES procedures and hire a contractor to come in and start doing those slurry seals on the roads that we approved.
I know 20028 is basically a continuation of that, is that right? The next.
Yeah, the next one is a
Mill-
same.
Any questions for either one of these? And then we'll just kind of get through these real quick.
Oh, we have to make the motions.
I know, no, I'm not, no, I'm just saying.
Do you have any other questions?
Quick discussion.
That's what it's not we can do.
Okay.
Kristen, you were talking about trying to receive that hardship match.
Yes, I have submitted for that. I have not heard back, but they said it would be into next month before we receive an answer.
Okay.
Because they have, other entities have till the end of the month to submit also. So we'll just see next month.
Any further discussion? All right, on resolution 102, I have a motion and a second to approve. Shannon, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bowles,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner White. Yes. Mayor Rolls.
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2022-103, approval of the transportation project fund grant agreement, HW2LP 228.
Okay. We have motion and second on this one. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, Shannon, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner White. Yes. Commissioner Bowles,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, I just want to recognize Crystal Ball for the work that she has been putting into these two projects. She's done a really good job, and I'm proud of what she's done. And the money that we're receiving for DOT for our streets is a big plus. So just want to thank Crystal Ball and the entire staff. Crystal Ball has put a lot of work into this, so I just want to thank you.
She has all this spare time.
Exactly.
It's the reason that we can complete this.
Done a fantastic job.
Yes, it is. And I'd like to commend all of the staff. I mean, all of the items that we were discussing, we've made good progress and continuing to make progress on all of it. So all of the staff is deserving of the same commendation that you just did. All right, we'll move on to the next item.
You're gonna run it, go for it.
Mayor, I'd like to, for resolution 2022-104, a resolution authorizing the assignment of authorized officer and agent for project number SAP 22G4062 STVR capital outlay project for the Lovington Wells Water System construction.
Okay, motion and second. Dr., oh, you.
I can see. Yeah, so
Okay.
it was because we just forgot to put Southeast Sewer and Mexico Economic Development Department as our fiscal agent on the resolution. It's the same project and or same grant agreement that we approved last week. Just adding that they will be our fiscal agent in the resolution.
Any questions? Shannon?
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner White. Yes. Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes. I think you're, I think you're the man.
We're on a roll here. Keep going. Keep going. About 15 minutes. Come on.
Motion for resolution 2022-105, approval to award RFP for Veterans Memorial Architectural Services.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on that. Who is going to talk on?
I'll start. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, working with Commissioner White, we met with the county manager, Mike Gallahan. We met with him. I just want to let the commission know that we do have capital outlay funding of approximately $600,000 for this project. If we don't use it, we're going to lose it. That's the bottom line. I did meet with Commissioner Bolt. All of you know that we've addressed this before, and the plan was, I thought maybe we could reauthorize it for baseball, softball. Like I mentioned earlier, we did meet with Commissioner Rebecca Long, and she's willing to allocate an additional $250,000 to softball, baseball. So softball, baseball fields, we should have approximately about $350,000 there. My recommendation to the mayor and the commission that we move forward with this memorial. We have a memorial committee. I think she's in the audience. She's been working on this project for some time, and it's a big plus for the city and county, and I think we need to move forward. With that said, Commissioner White or any other commissioner have anything else to add to this?
I'd like to say Carol and Dean, they're the ones that brought it to Lovington. They brought it to the table and back in Hobbs and go back and forth to Hobbs many occasions, and met with them too and the board, and they brought it to Lovington, and I'm glad we're going to do at least some architectural work right now, because it's been probably 5 years, right, Dean? 5 years back. So it's a lot of Carol. Carol housing several clubs, different logos. Yes. Yeah, because this project was initially going to Hobbs and what's it? We went to bat for it and brought it to Lovington. I know once the project is completed, I think it's going to be one of the best throughout the whole state of Mexico.
Now, the process would be after tonight, we would meet with the Veterans Committee group.
Yes.
We meet with the county, and we're looking at some additional funding. So this one is for approximately $600,000. If we can get additional funding, that would be great. And then from there, we will meet with the architect. We will negotiate with the architect.
And the architect has been chosen. I know.
Correct.
Whenever this brought up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this RFP runs out in October. We'll have to start the process all over again. The money runs out June 30th. So.
Yeah, and there's already a board in place.
Yes.
For this, and Carol is.
And the county has already purchased land for that.
There's been a lot of work
There's
up
been
to
a lot
this
of
point.
work.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, any questions that you may have for me concerning this?
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve this resolution. Shannon, please.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to make the motion for resolution 2022-106, approve appointment to the planning and zoning board. How many openings?
Three.
Oh.
Three.
So I would like to make the motion, Clint Moore and Mary Salcido and Chuck Johnson, the only three on the board.
No.
Oh, right,
These
okay.
are in the top.
Okay, but you have three to reappoint?
Yes, so three of them have expired, and it's Randy Pettigrew, Becky Price, and Brian Cooper, all who have said that they would like to continue serving. And then there's three additional individuals who have put in interest. And that's Clint, Mata, and Chuck.
Well, does Randy even have time to be on the board, honestly?
No.
I mean, I like to get strong. I just pretty.
Give it to Chuck, because Chuck,
Oh,
he showed up. You always talk about people not showing up. He showed up.
Since Chuck has the same head as us.
Thought it was a mirror.
I had to wear sunglasses.
Mayor, I'd like to make the resolution 2022-106, approve appointments to the planning and zoning board. Betty Price, Brian Cooper, and Chuck Johnson.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for approval of this, the appointment. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All right, Shannon?
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Gammon,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes.
Mayor, I'd like to accept council approval for council bill.
Any questions or any items? There you go.
We need a second.
She was here. There you are. Sorry, you were behind that.
Yes. Commissioner Bolton.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Everything is pretty normal on this one.
Yes, ma'am, I have two questions. Vendor 14582, industrial air rental and sales, air compressor repair. What was it, almost $6,000, what was it for?
We have a bigger compressor that runs our whole station for all of our trucks to plug into and repair on that. Because if we don't have that, then we have to let our trucks sit there for the air brakes to build up the pressure to be able to release, which in turn takes us longer than fire.
Okay. The other one I have is vendor 10610, R&D Electric, repair of tilt skillet in the kitchen for $11,000.
The senior center, they have this big thing that cooks and it comes up with all the grease stains and all that, and it just messes it up for them, and it allows them to cook meals. Big meals.
What is the skillet?
She told me it's like this wide, like a grill size, and it just comes up and dumps.
No, I just see the price on it and I'm like, it's expensive.
It's an older unit, but a newer unit is 40 or for a new one, so the repairs were.
Okay, just a question, just wanted to find out.
No, we want.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask.
Any other questions?
On the waste management, I've been a little confused on, how the different bills, is that per month, per area? How do you, in other words, they're all,
It's per month, but it is there, it was a June that had been paid. That's why it's up.
okay, that's the reason you had basically an
Yes,
additional
right.
month.
Yes.
Okay. They only bill us monthly? Do they only bill us quarterly or do they bill us monthly? Monthly, okay. All right.
On that note, we've already taken into consideration Xing out the convenience center and accounting for that. We're still breaking even with only 10,000 in the black.
Yeah, so I moved them towards two.
Okay.
One to parks and the other one to streets.
I just want to make sure. That shows you how far we're off.
Exactly.
Any other questions?
Any questions? All right, we have,
I'm good.
okay. I have a motion and a second for the approval of the expenditures. Shannon?
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mr. Gammon,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts.
Yes. We have exhausted the items of the agenda. We are now.
Put it down. You Rick.
I just want to let everybody know there is blood drive tomorrow.
Fire department.